When was the last time you got creative when it comes to your body and movement? Welcome back to Pilates for Everyone. I'm Erica Braun, and today we are unlocking all of the perfectionism in a little box that we put Pilates in. And we're talking today about creativity with your body and with movement. So thank you so much to everybody who went on Instagram and voted on my poll, because it really helps me shape and structure and learn about this podcast and what to work with. We did Creativity one this week, and building a playlist will be coming eventually. So thank you again. And I'm very excited to talk about today because creativity is so important in everything we do as a client and as an instructor. It's so hard because Pilates becomes a lot of times like this very structured, rigid box. And we are unlocking today all of the myths behind that, because one of the most important parts is having your creativity and really being able to explore that as a client and as an instructor. I'm going to break this podcast into two parts: creativity from the client's point of view and creativity from the instructor's point of view. Now, I've been on both sides because I love being a client and I love being an instructor. So I think it's important to talk about the difference between the two and where creativity falls into both spaces. Starting with creativity as a client. We often think as the instructor as the director, when actually the client is the actor bringing the script to life in their own individual way. I want to talk about mind-body art. It's really, really interesting because it's you learning about your body and activating your muscles without being able to see them. So it's really based all upon feeling, how you feel in your body, not how you look. And so you're really going to a creative space to stay within your body and doing what feels best versus thinking how you need to look. You're going with how you feel. And that right there is a whole new creative space as a client to really work with on a day-to-day basis, because every single workout will be different. Every exercise will be different. You will feel different on different days. So sometimes we come in feeling really energized, ready for the class, hyped up. Other days we're tired. Other days it's been a stressful day. Other days we just feel differently. So we work with how we feel because we're there. We showed up. We want to do it. We want to be there. But we just might be feeling different. So it is very you're exploring different ways. We might have done a harder workout the day before, so we're sore. So we have to nurture certain parts, or we are feeling, just tired as the week goes on. So it's very creative to work every day with your body on a different space and from where you're coming from and how you're feeling. All of that ties together, and we have to find the creative outlet on how to work with that. So I think it's really, really fun to say like, oh, I'm having an off day, but I'm here and I'm going to keep doing it. Or, oh, I'm having a really, really amazing day. But you work with all of that and you build, or today I'm going to modify. I'm really sore on this. I worked this muscle too much, so I'm going to modify. Modification is a huge creative outlet. Like that's a whole nother section as well, because modifications is intuition with your body. That's creativity as well. You're intuitive with how you're feeling when you modify. It actually makes you more powerful as a student and as a person when you do modify, because you're paying attention to yourself, to your body. You're present, the 3 Ps, present in the moment with yourself when you when you modify. You're paying attention to yourself. You're feeling your body. I also want to talk about listening to your body too. It's intuition. They're all tied together, but you really need to listen to your body. I say that to all of my clients. Like, if something doesn't feel right, something feels too much, listening to your body, that is just so creative within itself, and such an important space to go into within yourself in your classes, because nobody is going to feel your body more than you. And so that's why feeling your body is so important. One that's really important to me is breathing. That is creative as well. Finding your breath when you're in Pilates class, and is that a lot of times we hold our breath because we're focused and we're paying attention to what the instructor is saying, and we're paying attention to what our body is feeling. And when we're really focused, we hold our breath. So, and every time you exhale, your muscles are going to soften, and it gets us more into our space. So breathing, and everyone has different ways of breathing. It's easier to go in the nose, out the mouth. It's easier to go in the mouth, out the mouth. I'm not going to tell you how to breathe, because I just want you to start by breathing. That takes creativity, and you can try. Creativity comes in because you can try different types of breath. You can try through the nose, out through the mouth. You can try in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the mouth, out through the mouth. You know, you can try the smaller breaths, the larger breaths. You can feel your breath in your abdominals and your navel. So there's so many. That is a huge creativity, because that really brings us back when we breathe. As you know, I mean, as you know, I've talked about meditation and how it creates a real meditative state. So breath work is huge with creativity in Pilates. And it's also just really important to keep us centered and balanced. And so that, as a student, I think is extremely important, because there's a lot of times I have even caught myself taking a class and being either just breathing but not being present with it, or not being aware of it and not feeling it. So, I mean, I know that right there is a creative outlet to focus on in your classes as well as a student. So that is also very important. So any questions or thoughts about that, let me know, because I know that breathing is a lot harder than people realize, and it's just tough to stay present with it. So, and this last part is just mainly about finding your flow. So you figured out, you're figuring out your breath, you're figuring out your body, you're staying present, you're in the moment, you're finding your flow, you're finding your rhythm, finding your own space. So it's now tying everything together that we've talked about: the anatomy, the breath, the intuition, the feeling. So it's tying everything together, and then finding the flow that works for you. And remember, it's always going to be different. It's always going to feel different. It's never going to be the same. So, you know, let it be there. Allow yourself to just be there and enjoy that. So I think that's probably like as much as I want to cover today on the client's creativity. And then we're going to move on to the next part as the instructor's creativity. So, and then they both come together, and that's when the real creativity starts. All right, the next part is now creativity from the instructor's point of view. And I'm gonna try not to move my hands too much, because I get very excited and my hands become crazy hands. So I'm gonna try to keep my hands calm, because I'm already hyper, as most of you know. I'm a hyper person. So, and when I get really excited, I get even more hyper. So let me try to turn it down a notch, which doesn't always work out. So you're probably gonna see my hands doing crazy hands in about 10 minutes, maybe like a minute. So see, they already started. Okay, anyways, let's get back to the creativity of an instructor. And one of the ways I find really exciting and fun as an instructor is when you sneak in progressions. So you start off back to the sneaky progressions. Sneaky progressions are interesting because you start with a flow and you just, I mean, mind you, you're paying attention to the class and where they're at and how they're doing, but you start to slowly make it more and more and more challenging. And it's really fun to watch as an instructor, and it's really fun to go to that creative space. I get so excited when I go to that space because you watch people do things that they didn't think that they could do. So it's really fun to watch people become stronger and not realize how strong they are. And when they do realize that they could do something, it makes it really exciting for the instructor. And when you just slowly make it harder and harder, like you're not going to throw the hardest move from the beginning. You're going to start to build and watch the person get stronger and stronger as the move progresses, as you watch the progressions, and you go a little bit farther, then you go a little bit longer. You might, start with just leg lifts. Then you might hold the leg a little longer. Then you might add in some little circles. So it's really fun to watch that happen and watch the focus, the ambition, the confidence, and the drive in the clientele. So it is very fun to watch the creativity just circle around from the client to the instructor. So it's also the creativity in having the reformer and being able to do so many different creative moves on it, and having that creativity to do more and more, and like having the machines, like even just a magic circle, you can do so much with just a magic circle. So the props, adding in the props, that's all really creative as well. So the moves you can make more creativity with, but you can also add it in with props and with the reformer and the Cadillac and the barrel. So there's so many different types of creative outlets in just with the equipment and the props. So there's a lot going on there that I think makes being an instructor so interesting and so fun and so different. And you can change it. I mean, just adding weights onto a move can change it completely and just build so much confidence and strength in you as an instructor, as well as the clients building their strength and their intuition and their creativity. So it's fun to just work together on that. So the next part I want to talk about when it comes to creativity as an instructor is cueing. Cueing is very, very creative and also really hard and challenging to get your flow with. It takes time. My friends and I have laughed a lot about it because we've gotten really carried away with our cueing in classes before, and we're like, what did we just say and why? Because we've just gotten so creative and had so much fun with it. But then you tone it down, you bring it down a notch. You're like, okay, I think that was a little too much. Let me bring it down a notch and not get so carried away. But then, yeah, so that's why I say like the cueing is really, really important. It helps people visualize what movement you're trying to say. Instead of saying like engage your core, you can say like pretend you're walking into the ocean, it's really cold, and the water's up to your belly button. And that really helps people understand visually what you're saying. Like basically your words are the paintbrush when it comes to cueing, to helping people imagine what you're trying to say. So it really helps people. You can paint the movement in their minds when people are learning Pilates and learning what muscle groups to work. So cueing is very creative, but you have to be patient with it because it takes time. I mean, sometimes cueing you're right on and you're nailing it, and other days it can be a little bit more challenging with what you're trying to say. Like I know living in Portugal, like I'm learning Portuguese, but it's really hard. So not only is cueing sometimes challenging, but there's a language barrier. So you have to be aware. That's another thing a lot of times is like, I get really excited. So I start talking really fast and I start going really fast. Well, a lot of people are just trying to understand what I'm saying in English. So it is important to really like stay in it with your group and stay in it. So you can cue properly, but also make sure that everybody's understanding it as well. So there's a lot with cueing that goes into it. And in Portugal, there's a language barrier. So that's also something I'm learning to work with, which is really good and creative as an instructor. So perfect. We're going to be moving on now to the next part, which is my absolute favorite, which is read your room. If you've listened to any other of my podcasts, I think in almost every single one, I have said, read the room. And that is extremely creative. That is where I feel like your strongest creative muscle comes out, because I talked about this in another podcast, how sometimes you can have an entire routine planned and then it's not going to work with the group of people that just came in for different reasons. Maybe they don't feel good. Maybe someone's hurt. Maybe it's just people are brand new and they don't understand. And like, so you can have an entire routine planned out and have to change the entire thing. And so that right there is extremely creative. Like how people are feeling and connecting with your clients and like going on the journey together and reading the room and understanding how they're feeling and asking them how they're doing is really the creative outlet. So you can connect with people and you can connect with each other. And look, as an instructor, we have days where we don't feel extremely energetic, and we have our days just like the clients do. Both of us do. So we show up for each other and we try to work with that. So I think, I think reading the room is just extremely creative. I mean, my classes currently, I have 6 reformers in the room. So that's 6 different people with 6 different injuries, with 6 different ways of feeling differently. So you're creatively figuring out how to create a space for all 6 of the people as well as yourself. So that is, to me, I mean, I could keep talking about that because it's so powerful and it's so important and it's very, very, very creative. And so it's, as much as you plan for the future, there's nothing, that's why we go to the presents, because a lot of times it doesn't matter what you've planned or what you've structured. That isn't going to work that day. And that's okay. It doesn't have to. It wasn't meant to. So it teaches you to learn to be creative on a fly and on the last minute. It teaches you like, oh, okay, there's certain people that don't like the jump board. So a lot of times if I see their name, if I see it on time, it's okay. I have no problem like going, oh, they don't like the jump board. And so I can make it a good experience for them as well. And like, because I've been working with a lot of the same people for quite some time. So I can kind of manage my class around their energy and what I know they like or don't like as well. So, and sometimes I'll throw a curveball at them and give them something they don't like and see how they do. And 90% of the time they do amazing. So, I think that it's all structured around that. So I do think, like I've always said, the number one for me is reading the room, because that does teach you so much creativity, and that does you grow so much as an instructor when you learn to read the room. And we learn to just, that it doesn't have to be that structure we were taught always. Like you can veer off, and once you learn your clients and once you learn to get to know people, you really can expand your creativity. And that's that's where the magic happens, when you can really take that time to expand. But first, get to know people, learn about them, learn your clientele. It takes a little time before you get to that, but once you do, it's so powerful, and it makes your work as an instructor so fulfilling and so rewarding. And then you really have gratitude and you love what you do. And I mean, I've been doing this for 14 years and I have such passion for what I do. And don't get me wrong, it's been hard, it's been tough, it's been challenging. It's had its moments where I've been like, oh my gosh. But then it also has its moments where I'm just so glad I do what I do. It doesn't feel like work. It's so fun. I laugh all the time. I have such a good time. It's nice to to have this. And it's also part of what I love to do it as well. I love exercising and working out. So that's why it's why we do what we do. So thank you again so much for listening to my podcast. This is so much fun for me. I'm having the best time ever. I think, I'm hearing such fun feedback. And yes, I have had some audio problems because I am learning, and I've had to just like get up and be like, okay, I can do this. And I'm learning through the process, and I'm trying different things. But most of all, it's just really fun to do this and hear what everyone has to say. And I love the responses, and I love the inspiration. It's giving me so much inspiration. So thank you, you guys. I love all of you so much. And remember, follow me on Instagram, Charlie100_fitness. And especially if you want to jump in the polls, I will be throwing up, because your opinion matters and I like your structure. So I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your opinion, thoughts, leave comments. You can privately message me if you're not comfortable leaving a comment. Thank you again for everything. You can follow me on Instagram, and this will be on Spotify under Pilates for Everyone with Erica Braun. But thanks. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Big hugs, big kisses. Thank you.